Welcome to the Smackdown podcast. We are your hosts, Kyle and Rob Rude. We're your one-stop shop for all your Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view recaps and predictions. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to our YouTube page by searching for the Smackdown podcast. Otherwise, if you prefer a more audio format, we are on Podbean at smackdrawpod.podbean.com. Lastly, we like to talk wrestling on the podcast, but if you guys want to talk to us directly, you can follow us on Twitter at The Kai Tai Show for me, or at 2 words can't see me for Mr. Rob Rude. Rob, how you doing, man?
I am doing all right, sir. I am excited. I bought Double or Nothing. I bought it yesterday, I bought it 2 days ago, and I've never been so excited about a wrestling show in my life. It's new.
Oh my God! So you got Double or Nothing?
I bought it, and it's going to be on my television next Saturday.
How much was it?
$49.99.
$49. That's pretty good, man. That's not bad. Did you happen to catch All In last year?
No, I did not. I heard it was good though.
Man. It was really good. It was a lot of fun. That's the best word to describe it. Was fun. It was just a ton of fun. Those Elite boys, man. Them and Cody, dude, they might. I'm not going to get on the train and say they're definitely going to take WWE on, but those boys might be changing the business, at least to some degree.
Right.
I'll tell you what.
Like the hype about it, like, oh my God. And like I said in our last episode, I'm new into wrestling. And if I'm new and All Elite is new and I didn't buy the first pay-per-view and it pops, I couldn't live with myself. Like, I would rather waste $50 and it be a flop than not spend $50 and I see Jon Moxley popped on Twitter. And I didn't watch it. Like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like, I didn't know who Jon Moxley was until the Twitter thing happened. But now I want to see this guy show up. I want to see him show up, and I want to see the crowd go nuts. If he doesn't show up, whatever. I'm sure I'm going to catch a great wrestling show.
But
what if CM Punk shows up? Like
that's the other one.
What if CM
Punk shows up?
If I didn't spend $50 and watch it happen, I would be so mad at myself. I'd rather spend $50 and watch a flop than not spend $50 and see a tweet. CM Punk's here. Are you fucking kidding me?
And personally, I'm not going to be the guy that says, like, these indie guys are gods and CM Punk is the greatest of all time. But come on, guys. It's exciting. Yes, it is exciting. If it happens, no matter how you feel, it will be big.
Yes.
It will make waves, and you can be a part of history if you watch it, if they show up.
You can absolutely hate CM Punk and everything he did, which I don't understand why. You got to respect what he did. He had very good reason. But you can hate CM Punk and be part of that history. Like, if he shows up, the goosebumps that are going to happen?
Oh, man, I'll get chills, and I came around after the CM Punk, so there was a dark, you said you took a while off, and so did myself, and I think I got back into wrestling just after CM Punk walked out on WWE, so I just missed it. Now I caught up a lot through the network, I watched a lot of the greatest hits. That's how I usually like to pass my time. I'll throw a pay-per-view on I haven't seen in the background, and CM Punk obviously is one of the more recommended matches that you see, so I've definitely caught up with him. On a side note, if any of you guys hear meowing in the distance, I adopted 2 kittens today, and they have hidden themselves in my recording room. I cannot find them. So I apologize ahead of time if you hear some meows going on. It's just some kittens that I adopted, and I'm going to surprise my wife with. Well, anyways.
You didn't tell me that. I would have demanded pictures.
I'll get some when I find them.
I want pictures.
I got him in here for a second, and I was getting the box ready, and I was getting some food, and before I knew it, as I'm like bringing all the stuff out, I'm like, oh crap, where are they? Now, and I think I know where they are. I got a couch in here, and I think they're behind the couch.
Now, on another note, if you like kittens, follow Big Love. If you don't already follow him, he bought a kitten, or he got a kitten, however he got it, and he has been tweeting this kitten like crazy, and it's excellent because this kitten makes this man so happy, and it makes me happy. I turned on notifications for his tweets just to see how happy he is with his new kitten. I'm just throwing that out there. I
guess the last piece of cat news too is R.I.P. Grumpy Cat.
Oh.
But hey, these people aren't here to talk about cats, or maybe they are. Right. I don't know. Let's go ahead. We're gonna dive into it. We're a little late to the game with our SmackDown recap. We do apologize. We'll have a more structured release times in the future, but for now,
we went an hour and 40 minutes on episode 1 and said we can't do.
We were exhausted. Okay, we were just exhausted. All right, but let's get into it. SmackDown. from a couple days ago. Once again, airing from London. The show opens up with a familiar setting. We've got Miz and Roman Reigns out in there cutting similar promos to what they did on Raw. This is kind of the result of this, the wild card rule is you're getting the main stories bleeding over both shows, which means we're going to get some of the same stuff. One thing I was happy about here that was a little bit different is after Shane came out with Elias and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, we got the Usos, but we did not dive into the tag match like we did on Raw. They gave us a little bit of a break. But yeah,
I was amazed by that. I just want to say that.
Yeah, heads up. We had a 4-on-2 with the heels ganging up on Roman and Miz. You had the Usos come out, reunite the bloodline, defend off the heels, and afterwards send them packing. Sets us up for a fatal four-way, or not a fatal four-way, excuse me, a 4-on-3 handicap match later in the night. If the Miz shows up and interferes, he will have his cage match with Shane McMahon canceled. But with that being said, we go straight into the fatal four-way match.
I do want to bring up on the intro, Bryan and Rowan didn't have the tag titles. You're the tag team champions. Why do you not have the tag titles with you? You should have them with you at all
Did they show
times.
up with them? Did they show up with them later?
No, they did not have them on the show. They did not have them. I mean,
maybe they're going to debut the hemp titles. Maybe they're getting them changed up. You know, they're giving us the break, and they might be debuting the hemp championships at Money in the Bank. That'd be where you do it, right? Do it at a pay-per-view.
Yes, that would be where you do it. But until then, you put the tag titles on your belts. Like the reason I noticed that is like I'm not one to complain. Like I'm really not. I try to look at everything like with a good perspective. But the way champions have been eating pins and champions have been disrespected. You give the belts to these two, and I don't like it. I didn't really like it, but that's because I don't like Daniel Bryan. But I'm not supposed to like Daniel Bryan.
Jeez, you better watch that, buddy. You better watch that. Daniel Bryan is beloved by the internet.
The reason I don't like Daniel Bryan is because I was the biggest Yes Movement fan out there. Like, on the outside, again, I was on the outside, but I knew what the Yes Movement was. I knew he got on the rope, and he said yes, and he had 100,000 people going with him. And then he turned heel. I happened to be watching when he turned heel, and he broke my heart.
Yeah, man, he was like stomping. Whose head was it he was stomping in at the time?
I honestly don't remember, but I do remember he turned heel and broke my heart. Like,
I want to say it was like maybe like Ali or something, Mustafa Ali. Either way, yeah, he was doing those stomps, man. And, hey, look, man. All I got to say is he's a good heel, man. If he can get you to boo,
he is a very good heel. Now he's not on the level of Baron Corbin. Like I think
the funniest part is like it's kind of like the same argument we have for like Guy Fieri and Nickelback. Like, why are we booing Daniel Bryan? Like, what has he done? He tells us every week that we need to help preserve the planet and cut down on like, emissions, and start treating ourselves in this planet better. And yet we hate the guy for it. Like, granted, I get we don't like to be preached to, but let's check ourselves here. Maybe we're the bad guys. Okay, we might be the heels in this. Okay. But anyways,
that is valid.
Anyways,
it is valid. My point is, wear your titles, Brian. Wear your titles. You're the tag champs, whether I like it or not. You are the champions of my beloved company. Wear the belts.
He'll be at Money in the Bank. Hopefully, he's got those hemp belts. I can't wait to see those tag belts. Are getting pretty old on me with the penny logo and everything.
I think they're so ugly.
Yeah, man.
I hated the hemp world title, but I'll be down for some hemp.
Dude, I loved that title. I'm not gonna lie.
But again,
I loved that belt.
That's because Daniel Bryan broke my heart. So it was like an ex-boyfriend.
I like things that are different, that catch me off guard, man. I like to be surprised because WWE feels so predictable. So anytime they can surprise you with just about anything, there's like almost like an initial relief. Like, oh my God, finally they did something I didn't see coming. It only would be after that whether I can gauge whether or not I like it. But anyways, we'll get back to Daniel Bryan when he gets back in the match. Next up, we had a fatal four-way between who we all have in there. We had Andrade, Ricochet,
Randy Orton, and Mustafa Ali.
I was in and out of this match because I was feeding my family, but I did see one thing where Ali went for the the 450 splash, and he lands on his feet, rolls through, and then gets a wicked RKO from Randy Orton.
He got RKO'd to hell. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Jesus.
The RKO is my second all-time favorite finisher next to Sweet Chin Music.
Following what?
Sweet Chin Music. Like, I'm an absolute
Sweet Chin
HBK.
Music?
Like, I am an HBK stan. I will throw that out there.
Right.
Like, so Sweet Chin Music's my jam, but RKO out of nowhere, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it got called recently on Raw a weak diamond cutter.
Yeah, I do like the RKO. I mean, you can hit it from anywhere.
Yes.
You can hit it from anywhere, man.
Yes.
And that's why Randy Orton can never be booed again. I was talking to you earlier before the show.
Yes.
Like, Randy Orton, he's got that legacy pop now. Like, people, even if he has the crowd booing him, like, if he can manage to get the crowd to boo him, if the second he gets an RKO, they're going to cheer him over whoever he friggin' hit it on. He'd hit it on Becky Lynch, dude, and the crowd would cheer him. I promise you.
That's valid. The crowd was even chanting RKO before it happened.
Yeah, man. Like, he'd have to come up, like, if he wanted to go heel, like, he'd have to ditch the power slam. He'd have to ditch the RKO. And he'd have to he'd have to become like a submission wrestler. Like, he would have to get booed for being boring. And even then, that's not why you would want to get booed. You never want to be boring. Like,
Corbin.
He's been around. Yeah, man. It just ain't gonna happen. Well, anyways.
Yes. Move on.
Andrade gets the win.
Yes.
In the Fatal 4-Way match, giving him some the momentum going into the Money in the Bank. I missed the part. Did he try to break out the ladder? Like, I want to say he broke out the ladder or something.
I do have it that Ricochet ended up on top of the ladder.
Like, Ricochet, I remember, I think a ladder got busted out at some point, and Ricochet, like, went off the top ropes onto it. You'll have to forgive me, man. I was in and out, like, the first 30 minutes of the show.
Yeah, same here. So, I mean, let me remember the gist of what happened. But I do remember Ricochet was on top, which, as you said last episode, does that mean he's not winning money?
Guarantees that dude is not winning. Like, that is it. We'll dive into who we think's winning in the next episode. We'll get those predictions out there. Well, anyways, after the Fatal 4-Way, we're greeted with Kofi Kingston in the back. He's talking to Xavier Woods, telling him, like, man, hang back here. Don't come out. You're beat up. Let me do what Kofi's got to do. And I appreciate that of him. You know, Kofi standing on his own two legs. That's what a champ needs to do. They are booking Kofi perfectly with this championship run, man. They're giving him legitimate wins. He's saying the right things, man. He's honestly a true babyface, and that is hard to do. In a world where it's easy to be a good heel, it's hard to be a good babyface. And Kofi, by all means, is one of the best at being a babyface.
That is valid. When he first won the belt, I was curious. I'm like, I mean, they're obviously giving him the belt to make the crowd happy. I was like, can he carry the belt, though? And he's pulling it off. He is pulling it off. He is doing very well at being the WWE.
I'm hoping he keeps it to SummerSlam. You know, I'd be skeptical to think he will, but I'm hoping that they can get him to SummerSlam. You know, and then get mega heat on whoever takes it off of him. You know, whoever takes it off him needs to be the next biggest, baddest guy. But after that, we have Charlotte coming out. Go ahead and recapping the contract signing from Monday Night Raw, where her and Lacey Evans did like an assisted powerbomb, putting Becky through the table.
Assisted by Becky.
Yeah. But afterwards, we cut back to the man, and we see Becky's video package showing her upbringing from NXT with Charlotte, and it carries their two relationship all the way through WrestleMania. And it was just really well put together. One of the best things, like I'm going to say almost every episode that they have one, WWE's production crew knows how to put a good video package together.
Yes.
They really do, man. Yes. And they've known how to do it for years, man. They really do.
And I keep bringing it up, but being from the outside, I wasn't around when all that happened. And that was the first time I seen that package. So it gave me goosebumps. I enjoyed seeing that. I really did. Because I said it last episode, Lynch is what hooked me back in when she won that Rumble. And how the crowd cheered and how hot she was. And then seeing that video, which brought her to today, I really enjoyed seeing it. I really did.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, it's good. And then just as you're all caught up, then Lacey Evans comes on. And you're like, oh, damn. There's a third person mixed into this. I completely forgot about her. Lacey Evans, she's backstage. She cuts a generic promo looking in the mirror saying she's going to, I think, like classy up that belt, and nothing too special here is kind of what I remembered.
I don't really remember the promo, but I have to say that Lacey Evans is growing on me, and this promo helped it out. She is carrying herself well. At first, she started out just throwing punches, and then that was it. But she is starting to carry herself. And the one thing I noted from this promo was she said Becky is no longer going to be Becky Two Belts. She is going to be Becky Black Eye.
Becky Black. What is with all these nicknames, man? Every week they come up with like 3 new nicknames for these women, dude. It's awesome, though. It's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. But
she's growing on me though, and that promo helped. Like I was like, I like this promo, and then she's starting to do it well. I will say one thing, if you don't mind. I will say one thing. I did catch a behind the scenes from like WWE's Performance Center. They released a video of Lacey Evans kind of like making herself vulnerable. I remember she shared something, I think, about her time in the military. And she was very humanized. This wasn't the character that we see on television. This was more akin to who she really is in defining who she is. And I realized that she's got a lot of potential. Like she really does, and I believe in that just from that behind the scenes footage alone shows the length she'll go to speak to the crowd and make people listen. So we'll see where it goes. Her character obviously is resonating with some people. To me, I'm on the fence. I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it. You say you're coming around. So I'm very much.
It's shining through, man. Her character's shining through, and we'll see. My only fear is, and I don't think she's gonna win. A spoiler on tomorrow. I don't think she's gonna win, but I bet.
Then we're going to have a good conversation tomorrow, because my spoiler is I think she's walking with the belt. I really do. Did you see? She tweeted earlier. I don't know if it was a WWE exclusive or it was from a Raw I missed or whatever. She was in a bathroom cleaning like a lady, and she cleaned the toilet with a Becky Lynch shirt. She threw The Man shirt on a mop, and she cleaned the toilet.
Oh, shoot.
I'm like, that is absolutely amazing right there. I don't know if she came up with it or Vince came up with it or whatever, but that's absolutely amazing right there. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. Like, Becky's taking shots at you on Twitter. Take her shirt and clean a toilet with it. That's golden. That's absolutely golden.
Yeah, man. It is good. We'll see. After the promos for the women are done, we get a glimpse out in the ring. Shane's getting us ready for that handicap match. But we do cut to commercial. And when we come back, you think we're going back to the match, but we have time to fit in an Aleister Black promo. And let me tell you, man, this is I'm starting to get worried, man. I'm really starting to get worried. WWE, I'm not gonna be pessimistic yet, but they got to do something with Aleister, and they got to do it quick, because this guy is one of the hottest things to come from NXT. He's got one of the hottest entrance music. He's got one of the best looks. He looks cool as hell. He's got an amazing finisher. This guy is all around a star. And I don't think you got to see what they did to Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt fell victim to week in and week out cutting promos, which it honestly just results in nonsense.
I didn't see it, but I did hear it.
Yeah, and it killed it, man. Now, and I fear that's what's going on with Aleister Black.
Speaking of Bray Wyatt, we were asked episode 1 from one of the viewers or listeners or followers, whatever. Who do we think Bray Wyatt should feud with?
You said Aleister.
Now, you got Bray Wyatt doing nothing but building. You got Aleister Black doing nothing but building. I think they're going to go head-to-head. It only makes sense. They're the same type of wrestler. Like, in the long run, they're both dark. They both have creepy
dark
music.
And got some mystery to them.
I mean, it's two different style of wrestlings. Opposites attract. When you see like a Mysterio and a Corbin, two different style wrestlings, it made for a golden match. So
Jesus, man. No,
is Aleister going to fight Bray Wyatt? I honestly think he's going to. I could very well be wrong. But
see, I could see that. There's one issue, though, and it's that right now, neither of them have momentum outside of their video packages, which logic would dictate they both need to start off with some wins. So if you have two people coming in with clean slates, unless you're going to do 50-50 booking, which helps nobody, you're going to send one of these guys up the ladder, and you're going to have one of these guys start at ground zero and then send him down. And so that would be my only fear. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a good matchup. Absolutely would.
Right.
But where these guys currently are is they both are on, like I said, ground zero, and you normally don't want to take any step back when you're at ground zero. And so that would be my only fear. It'd be good for one of them. The other one, it'd be tough, man. It'd be a tough setback. But without thinking of that long-term stipulations, you're right, man. You're right. Absolutely, these guys would be a really cool and intriguing matchup. I absolutely agree.
That's valid. Maybe bring in some jobbers. And you have Alistair, take out some jobbers, and Wyatt, did you see that? I beat this guy. And then the next week, Wyatt comes out, he takes out a jobber. You see how fast I beat this guy, and blah, 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 blah. So they're feuding with each other, but they're not fighting each other.
Right.
They're telling each other how good they're
Find ways to one-up each other. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they meet at SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever the next big thing is.
And that's where you do it. Okay. I can see that for sure, man.
I personally like the feuds where they feud, but they don't fight each other. I don't want to see you fight each other 4 times, and then all of a sudden you throw them at me at WrestleMania again. I want to see a fresh match, and these two are 2 different fighting styles. Boom, they're fighting each other for the first time, but you built me up to it without me seeing them fight each other. If that makes sense.
No, you're right, man. Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, I could very well be 100% wrong on all this because I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to
don't sell yourself short, Rob.
But
don't sell yourself short, man.
It makes sense to me. It makes total sense to me.
Yeah. Look, and that's what's wonderful about having you on this podcast with me is because your outside perspective coming in with these fresh eyes and not having this resentment built towards the company because you've been watching it like so many years in a row and you're so used to heartbreak. It's very refreshing, honestly, and I appreciate it. But going from that, we finally, I believe, get back to the ring, and they are rounding up the entrances, and we do get that 3-on-2 match. Nothing too exciting here. The heels heeling it up, the faces facing it up. The majority of the time, the heels are working over Jey Uso, who injured his leg, I believe, in an attempted splash. So they, slow the match down, beat on him for a while.
Did he really hurt his leg, or was that part of the show?
That was part of the show.
You scared me. I'm like, wait, did it? Because I know exactly what you're talking about when he fake hurt his leg. I was like, wait, did he really get hurt? Now, I do want to throw it out there. I have it actually in my notes. And I'll say it again. I'm a new guy. I've been here since January. My wife even brought it up. This is the first time we've seen Elias in the ring. I've been back, 4 months now? And this is the first time seeing Elias in the ring. Does he not wrestle often? Or did they just have him singing songs this whole time?
No, yeah, he wrestles few and far between. He's more of a character than a wrestler. He's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. But they utilize his character more for him to come out and for song or to have faces interrupt him. Yeah, he's more there for character work and being kind of a goon.
Right. Which is why I didn't even realize this is my first time seeing this guy in the ring. Because on Twitter I'll joke and say I hate Elias, but I really don't. Elias is an amazing character. That's why I haven't thought, I haven't seen this guy in the ring. Because every time he's in the ring, he's singing a song and it's funny. And if he doesn't get through the song, it's because Undertaker dongs him and scares the shit out of him. Or
him and Kevin Owens, I want to say it was last year. They got some of the biggest boos for WWE out of the entire year, and it was nothing too crazy. Him and Kevin Owens opened up a segment, and all they did was insult. I can't remember what town they were in, but I guess the town they were in, their sports team was bought out by another city. So their sports team left the city, and they just insulted them for it. And they got booed, I swear, for 5 minutes straight. They couldn't get a word in. And you could tell, you can tell you hit a point where it's you still soaking in the booze, but the producers are like, okay, we got to keep the show moving because this crowd was relentless. And it was the only other time I saw that type of reaction was, I don't know if you saw it, but you can find it on YouTube. The night after Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker, he got booed for 8 minutes straight. like people lobbing F-bombs, like, and just they wouldn't let him speak on the mic. 8 minutes of booze for Roman to say like 5 words, and that's all it was.
I believe it. I watched that WrestleMania, but like I said, episode 1, I didn't have a way to watch Raw.
It was crazy.
I really wish I could have watched Raw.
Dude,
but
it was so crazy.
Speaking of that, I was actually going off track here a little bit, but whatever. It's all in fun.
It's all good.
I was talking to a friend the other day because I got people at work that let me babble about whatever I'm into. Right now it's wrestling.
I love those friends.
And they don't know nothing about it, but they let me babble. And I was talking about how The Undertaker made me cry. Like, literally cry. I was in tears when he did what he did after Roman. And
wait, are you talking about his leukemia thing?
No. When Roman beat him and Undertaker looked at the crowd for 5 minutes.
You cut out. Okay, I got you now.
He left his trench coat in the ring and he retired.
It was
everybody knew
man.
he retired. I cried. I'm sure everybody at the stadium cried. And
I may have been like, I think my wife was like cutting onions or something. Like I may have been a little welled up.
Right. But the point of what I'm getting at is it made me think of when that happened. The Miz tweeted, "If you have a dry eye right now, you're a bigger man than me." And I was talking to my buddy about this, and I was like, "Check this out." And I looked up this Miz tweet, and I found the tweet, and the reply to the tweet was Roman in the back, and he looked like a crushed man.
Yeah.
Because I got goosebumps on my arms right now because he didn't want to beat The Undertaker.
I don't think anybody did. I think Brock Lesnar was the only person who cared, but that's because Brock Lesnar ain't really about the business.
Brock Lesnar's a bastard, and he should not have been the man.
Brock Lesnar's a businessman. He's a businessman.
That's all well and good, but man, you toyed with my childhood, bro. Like anybody else, dude. I would have rather had Goldust come out and beat The Undertaker. Like, come on, man. Like,
I don't know about that one. I like Gold now, but
like, oh man. But yeah, that's straying off point. But yeah, I just thought of that. The Roman looked so crushed that he had to beat The Undertaker. And then The Undertaker, he retired and made me cry, and then all of a sudden it was like it never happened. And I was mad at Vince. I'm like, bro, you made me cry. You realize that, right?
I know, man. Yeah, that's the thing. The thing is called money. That's why no one ever stays retired.
Shawn Michaels did, just saying.
Shawn Michaels, until he didn't, and then he wished, and then he was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Actually, I don't know. He probably don't give a damn because that dude got paid.
Here I am. I was on Undertaker's side, and then 5 seconds later, Undertaker's a bastard.
That was a
he
rough
ended my
match
boy's
to watch.
career.
Dude, that was such a rough match to watch. Shawn Michaels coming back. It was DX versus Undertaker and Kane. Boy, that was a rough one, man. Not gonna lie. That was a tough one to watch.
All right, sorry guys.
Back to where we were at. Yeah, let's get back on track here.
Shane hits a coast to coast and wins the match.
Yeah. So the match ended after Shane hit a coast to coast on, I believe, Jey Uso. Went ahead, got the win for the heels. Afterwards, though, Miz, who was banned from the match but not banned from the arena, apparently, came out with a chair, got a smack in there, I believe, chased off the heels. That is that. Afterwards, we got a quick replay. Smackdown doesn't do any of the new Firefly Funhouse. They don't create new ones. They're just replays of Raws, and it's still good, man. I'm still hyped. I'm hoping. When do you think Barry's going to debut? You think he'll debut at the pay-per-view, or are we still a little ways off?
No, we're a ways off.
You think so?
The fact that you just dropped this on us, you're going to spoil it if you give it to us early.
You got to pull the trigger soon. If they don't do it at Money in the Bank, they got to pull it soon.
You do got to pull it soon. I will give you that. But we need at least one more episode. Like, you built us up. Like, anybody who's a mark knew this was coming. You gave it to us. I want to know the new man behind the mask. I want at least one more episode of him being Corey Taylor and just doing what he does. And then debut him.
The next episode, he has like musical guests and it's Slipknot. I mean, how awesome would that be?
You got 10 drummers on stage with rotating platforms.
Oh, Jesus, that would be so awesome. Elevated drum sets. Oh, God.
Now, I do want to throw it out there. If anybody else has a different opinion, you think he should come out on Raw, he should come out at Money in the Bank, well and good. I see you. But my personal opinion is I want one more episode. At least one more.
Hey, man, all these episodes have been entertaining me. I'm not going to. You give me another episode, I'm going to watch it. You know?
Also, how was Rambling Rabbit back? I want to say it again. He just came
Oh,
back.
he got patched up. I saw it after you told me. The replay show, he got patched up. He had like Band-Aids and crap holding him together. They just did like a cheap little patch job on him.
Okay.
He's all banged up. But
don't say anything about the fact that you ripped our heart out and killed the rabbit in front of us. Just put him back together and don't say anything. Okay, that's cool.
I mean, he's a puppet, man, you know?
He's more than a puppet to me, all right? It's real to me.
I'm wondering if those puppets, if they're going to play out like as real people or they're just going to be strictly for backstage stuff. I'm wondering what the role is for them, if they're just going to only be part of the skits or if they're going to be embodied in actual wrestlers. So I'm wondering how that's going to go.
Or maybe they'll be at the announce table with Michael Cole when Wyatt's wrestling.
So, yeah, the freaking announcement. They got the headsets on. Yes, it.
Rabbit's covering his eyes if Bray's losing.
I don't want to hear from Ramblin' Rabbit because he's probably got PTSD. So I'm not going to hear that rabbit like freaking out the whole time. It'd be a toss-up between the buzzard and the witch. I'd probably go with the buzzard because the buzzard's a smart mouth. You know, I think that's who I'd go with.
I'd have to go with the witch just because I'm a Pokemon nerd, and she reminds me very much of Sabrina from season 1.
Sabrina, isn't that the gym leader? I'm gonna release my inner nerd. That's one of the psychic gym leader, right?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly who I'm talking about.
I've been watching Pokemon with my son for like 2 weeks, man.
That's great. That's absolutely excellent. But that's the first thing I thought, and I actually tweeted it, but it didn't get much traction because I was new to Wrestle Twitter and whatever.
But okay. So next part, this is what we got to talk about, Rob. Next part, this is easily the most talked about segment of the show. We had the debuting tag team of the Kabuki Warriors, the newly named.
Let's skip to the fact that the Iconics were ringside. I mean, that's what was most important about this segment.
Yeah. But so here, I mean, really quick, we'll go over the segment, and then I'll give my 2 cents on it. I'll let you give your 2 cents on it. So the segment went as such: the Kairi Sane and Asuka come out to the ring. Paige introduces them as the Kabuki Warriors, followed by Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, the Fire and Desire. So the match is between them, and then we've got the Iconics on commentary.
Better than Michael Cole.
Now, I'd love to talk more about the match, but honestly, most of it was covered in commercials.
Yes.
It's just the plague of the women matches in Smackdown.
And what wasn't covered by commercials was the fanhood aside, covered by the Iconics doing what they do.
Yeah, you get you get either flat out commercials or sometimes they'll do the picture-in-picture, but even then it's hard to follow without the audio.
The point we're getting at is they were called the Kabuki Warriors.
The Kabuki. Well, anyways, really quick before we get our 2 cents in, the match ends when Sonya Deville lands a big shot on Asuka, and before she can follow up with a pin or another move, Mandy Rose reaches out, frantically demands to be tagged in. When she gets tagged in, she gets rolled up by Asuka while Sonya Deville's back is turned. They get the 1, 2, 3. The Kabuki Warriors get their first win under the new name. Now, let's talk about this for a second. So, at first, obviously, the first thing we can think of is the Viking experience. You know, it just WWE out of touch, naming these names that don't make sense. Since then, though, personally, I've seen a little bit more insight, and I'm not quite as upset. Now, I'm not going to be able to go verbatim, and the article is much longer. So I watch these guys, Steve and Larson. They have their own podcast, Going in Raw. If you guys haven't heard of them, you need to watch it, man. They are just fun to watch. It's like watching wrestling with your buddies. But anyways, I guess they have a fan or a contact that they communicate with often, and she's fluent in Japanese, and she translates a lot of like New Japan. She translates all the so WWE's got the WWE Japan YouTube page, and she'll translate the promos that Asuka and Kairi Sane cut in Japanese because they don't actually provide subtitles. So she's a little bit more in tuned, and she wrote an article stating that. 2 main things that stuck out was Asuka, unfortunately, had to describe on Twitter that this was a different variation of Kabuki than what most of us Westerners are accustomed to. And it's more akin to actually her character and Kairi Sane's character. And so the name does make sense. And apparently it was decided upon by them themselves. what
Really?
I found an issue with, but where the issue still lies, and this isn't an excuse for it, is WWE just still didn't handle it correctly. So if the name was made up correctly and you're standing by the name, you should have had like one of your well put together video packages. You should have had one of the girls name it. You should not have had just Paige walk out to a cold crowd and just announce the new name with no context or anything, because most of us here, if we're familiar with the term kabuki at all, it's some type of dancer that has nothing to do with those girls, so WWE could have handled it and clarified the reason for the name a lot better than just rolling it out there and having Paige, a Westerner, just deem the name, because then it comes across to anybody who's uneducated as honestly slightly racist. You know what I mean? And just kind of you're sitting there wondering, man, why the hell is WWE coming up with these stupid names? So with that being said, it doesn't really roll off the tongue, regardless, whether it makes sense or not.
My personal issue with it was I just don't like it.
Just what?
I just don't like it.
That's kind of my thing too.
Like, no, all meaning aside, it's the Kabuki Warriors. That does, like you just said, it doesn't
don't really roll off the
tongue. It's not like who are our tag team champs? The New Age Outlaws. Like, boom, that right there rolls off your tongue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, that rolls off your tongue. Who's our champs? The Kabuki Warriors.
Well, how about this? Now, I can't remember if it was Kairi Sane or Asuka, but they originally wanted the Kabuki Girls. But the WWE brass or Vince himself was like, nah, we want Warriors, not girls in the name. Would you have been more better with Kabuki Girls? Because I kind of like that more.
Dear Vince, you will never, ever listen to our podcast, but if you do, you screwed up, bro. The Kabuki Girls, that's amazing. That right there.
Sounds a lot better, right?
That changes it to a name that I want to say is wearing the tag titles. Once the Iconics get their 3 years in, just don't.
Yeah. How about this? We'll refer to them as the Kabuki Girls, and hopefully our fans will, and it'll just become like an off the cuff thing, okay? But anyways,
I'm okay with that.
So that's my piece. Did you have anything else to add to it?
No, that's really it. I do have it in my notes though that I try not to complain about the product. I really don't, but I have an 8-year-old daughter that watches wrestling with me.
Right.
It keeps it fresh for me because I actually have it in my Twitter bio. I watch wrestling like it's real. I don't stop and think of what they're doing in the locker room. And like, I want Nikki Cross to win Money in the Bank. Chances are she's not going to. She's
a lot of people want her to, man.
But it doesn't make sense in the story, which it could. I mean, you bring her out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you got some ratings because you got this girl, that won it out of nowhere. But it doesn't make sense in the storyline. But since I watch it like it's real and she's my favorite, I want her to win. I've never wanted anybody to win a match as bad as I do her to win Money in the Bank.
Well, hopefully the brass hears us. This is the year of giving to the fans.
Now, I got off subject there, getting into my girl, Nikki Cross.
But all right.
The point of what I'm saying is I try to watch wrestling as if I'm a child. Like, I'm a childish adult. But I try to watch it as if I'm a child, as if it's real. I have an 8-year-old watching with me.
Right.
So, like, the other day, she's like, you remember when Daniel Bryan called Kofi a B-plus player? I'm like, that's amazing. Because, like, you remember things like that. Like, little things like that. But the point I'm getting at is my 8-year-old daughter looked at me and said, why is Paige coming out with them? You have an 8-year-old wondering what the hell is Paige doing with Asuka and Sane. What is she doing out there? You have no reason to be out there with them.
We got to give Paige something, man. You know what I mean?
That's valid, but this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief.
You know what she should do is Paige makes a great heel. She should turn on him at some point. You know what I mean?
Oh, maybe they're
Yeah, man, because Paige does make a really good heel, and the Fire and Desire, Sonya and Mandy Rose.
Sonya needs to flip on Mandy. I was saving it for our prediction match, but she needs to flip.
Well, they were originally part of Paige's faction. What was that called? Do you remember?
I didn't know Paige had a faction.
Hey, anybody listening to this on Twitter or YouTube or something, leave it in the comments, man, because I'm going to feel stupid whenever y'all hear it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not going to waste my time thinking about it. But yeah, maybe Paige will turn on them, and then they'll have their own thing going. Yeah, and then
if she were to turn on them, then it would make sense as to why she's out there.
right.
But other than that, I just don't see it. Introduce them once. Here's our Kabuki Girl Warrior, iconic warrior Viking Raiders. But other than that, boom, you're done. You have no ties with them because they're fine on their own. Like, I don't want them to beat my Iconics, but if they were to, I would be okay with it because they're an amazing tag team. You don't need Paige.
I just want to see those belts travel, man. I want to see them on Raw. I want to see them on NXT. I just want to see the belts travel, whoever's got them.
Valid.
All right, so after the segment's over and the Kabuki girls have gone back, we see Miss Generic Interviewer backstage waiting to interview Lars Sullivan. But first, we have to get through a video package. I believe it was of Lars just running havoc. When we cut back to him, the interviewer's too intimidated to follow through with any questions and just excuses herself and ends that segment. Excuse me. And then we cut back to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is backstage talking about ways he'll beat Kofi Kingston, things that he doubts that Kofi Kingston will dare to come out on the KO show. And while he's going off on his rant, he gets interrupted by the New Day music. And I got to say, man, aggravated or annoyed Kevin Owens is an entertaining Kevin Owens. I love his reactions when people cut his ass off, dude. I'm telling you.
I agree 100%. I do have a question, though. Like I said a minute ago, I look at it as I'm a child. You're in, like, the boiler room, and you hear Kofi's music clear as day. Really? Come on, man. You're in the boiler room. You're not going to hear this music clear as day.
You got to have some suspension of disbelief, okay, when you're watching wrestling now.
I know. I'm just being an ass. That really is in my notes, but still, I'm just being an ass.
I didn't even get to me, too. I didn't even realize that. How do you say it, though?
Like, he heard it clear as day. I'm like, bro, you in the electric room right now, man.
So afterwards, we get the main event, which is a talk show segment. We got to love that. The go-home show for Money in the Bank, and the main event of the show is just a skit, but a skit it is. We return. It's Kofi alone in the ring talking about Sunday's match, and before Kofi can try to goat Kevin Owens out there, which is kind of odd because if you're on a talk show, why is the guest in the ring and the host is nowhere to be found? You know what I mean? Like that.
That's valid.
That was a little awkward. That was a little weird. I was expecting. The only thing I was thinking the whole time was that Kofi was baited into the ring so Kevin Owens could like beat up Xavier Woods backstage, but that ultimately wasn't the case. One thing I noted here that I thought was cool was everyone started chanting Kofi show. Thought that was a nice little touch.
Yes, sir. And then I thought of how the KO show was on the Titantron, how it takes one little Photoshop to put an FI after KO.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all it takes.
That's all it is. But afterwards, after Kofi's trying to goat Kevin Owens out, we get Kevin Owens on the Titantron, and he's talking about how essentially he talks about Kofi's chase of the belt, a dream, but he says, every dream, at some point you got to wake up, dream is over, pretty standard stuff. Afterwards, we're greeted with yet another video package. The Smackdown was just chock full of video packages. Not that they were terrible, but we just felt like we got so many of them.
This one, I think, personally, was kind of terrible and unnecessary. We've seen it all. It all. We understand that Kofi is fighting Kevin Owens for the belt at Money in the Bank. But, I mean, we've seen it all. You beat up Xavier again. You powerbombed.
It would have been fine had they not had so many.
Yes, exactly.
Had you not had so many. If you cut out another one, it would have been good. By this point, I was done with them. You know what I mean? I was done with those. I don't even think that we had but maybe 3 or 4 matches the entire show. I'll have to go back and count. But it really felt like in 2 hours we really didn't get much action. Like it was a bunch of recap, a bunch of video segments, and a
bunch of promos
and commercials
pushing us into Sunday, which we're already pushed in. We're already invested. You have us invested enough.
You're supposed to give us that big hook, man, that big cliffhanger.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And and I don't know, this was kind of a miss for me, but hey, like I said, I'm not going to be a pessimist. I'm going to take my Twitter goggles off, and I'm not going to judge the show outright. I'm just saying that at the end of this, for me, it just felt kind of flat, but I'm still excited for the pay-per-view.
It did. I still enjoyed it. Like it takes a lot for me to not enjoy a WWE show.
Right. Now the big thing about this was that we got the reunion of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, so that was the big thing.
Yes, sir.
If you're not familiar with it, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go back like almost 2 decades. They came up through the Indies together. They got in WWE together. They've had multiple rivalries in and out of the company. These two are just forever entwined in their wrestling careers. They'll always find like a way to associate themselves with each other. Similar to Edge and Christian, but less tag team, more rivals than tag teams. But anyways, Kevin Owens and Kofi, they finally confront each other, start fighting. Sami Zayn comes out, jumps him. Xavier Woods comes out to even the odds. He gets beat up. Kevin Owens eventually gets the upper hand on Kofi, has him down in the ring. You can hear him loudly shouting at him that he could end him right now. He could end everything, but he's not going to do that.
This
he wants
is what
to
happens when you're on your own, and
which
is actually kind of valid. Would Kofi be?
It's good. It's good character work, man.
It's very true. It's very true. Would Kofi be where he is without the New Day?
Right, but this is the thing.
That's a whole other conversation. But
here's the thing. Question. He told him he's on his own, and what happened? Kevin Owens missed the cannonball. Kofi got up, hit the not the SOS. What's his finishing move?
I don't know the answer to that question.
God damn, man.
I'm a failure in life.
Oh God, I'm gonna hate myself.
Isn't it that back slam thing where he?
No, he hits him with like that rolling kick. Jesus. I feel so, it's when you're on the spot. It'll come to me a minute after we go off the air. But anyways, right, Kofi hits his finisher on Sami Zayn. You can Google it, man, while I'm talking. That way I feel a little bit better.
What is Kofi Kingston's finisher?
Kofi hits his finishing move on Sami Zayn.
Okay.
And we fade to black, all right?
I looked up furniture, guys. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Yeah, I feel stupid right now.
I'll hand type it. Go ahead. I'll hand type it.
No, I mean that was the show. That was the show.
Yes.
Kofi hit that finisher. He stands tall.
Trouble in Paradise.
Trouble in Paradise. God dang it.
I knew that. I'm sorry, guys. We're failures.
I'm so sorry, wrestling community. I know we're supposed to be experts.
Please keep listening to us.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. All right. Anyways, that's the show. That was Smackdown. A lot of filler, a lot of video segments. Overall, not a terrible show. It had its moments, man. The Kabuki girls, they obviously are going to have the biggest takeaway of the show, but I don't think it's horrible. I just don't think it's great.
Speaking of that, if they picked it on their own, then I have respect for it.
It's a little bit better, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't feel as bad.
Right. I mean, if that's what you want to be, more power to you. Whatever the hell you want to call yourself, more power to you, honestly. But if something Vince picks, just saying.
Yeah,
just saying.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's get to some questions here.
All right,
we're making good time. I forgot to start recording. Where are we at? We're at like 40, 50 minutes?
I use OBS to record. I don't have a timer.
We'll figure it out. We're not too... It ain't the first episode, that's for sure.
All right, so I'll go ahead and start, and then you can jump. I gave you 3. I have 3. I mean...
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
One of my cards, I'll tell you, has 1, 2, 3, looks like 4, a bunch of questions. But that's okay. We'll roll through them. JM and Yeeski, which is a podcast that showed us love today, and I listened to them. It's actually it was entertaining.
I'll have to give them a listen.
At WWF Anonymous, what is the percentage that Sasha Banks shows at Money in the Bank?
Come again. You cut out there.
What are the odds of Sasha Banks showing up at Money in the Bank?
At Money in the Bank or just in general?
At Money in the Bank. Specifically Money in the Bank.
I hadn't given it much thought. I'm gonna say 15%. I don't think it's too likely. I don't see what the big deal would be, right now. I don't see where the big angle would come. Unless she shows up to cost Becky Lynch a belt, but even then, it's this would be it right here. This would be it. If Sasha was to show up, it would be like this: Bayley wins the Money in the Bank. Bayley waits for the end of Sasha and Charlotte's match because it's a pretty safe bet that that'll be, or not Sasha, but Becky Lynch and Charlotte's match because it's pretty safe to assume that'll be the second match of the two. She waits for that match to finish. Bayley and Sasha Banks come out together, jump Charlotte and Becky, cash in that Money in the Bank. Bayley wins with Sasha by her side. I could see that, but that would be the third year of the road they would cash in on the same night. So, and I just don't see that happening, and I don't see that big of an angle of Sasha doing it. So I'm gonna say 15%.
I would say less than 15. When WWE tweeted that Alexa Bliss was hurt and they were going to announce a Money in the Bank whoever was going to replace her, yes, my heart dropped because, like I said earlier, I'm a Nikki Cross stan. This is my first time saying it. I'm a Nikki Cross stan. I was like, Nikki Cross, this could be your chance. Even if she's not going to win, she's going to be in the match. I love Nikki Cross. I love seeing her on my television. But I was like, if it's not Nikki Cross, who the hell is it going to be? It's going to be Sasha Banks. Now, an hour later or whatever it was, they tweeted, it's going to be Nikki Cross confirmed. What other reason do you bring Sasha Banks to Money in the Bank?
I just don't see it, man. It would fall flat.
A mystery competitor that cashes in, which she was apparently given the spot, which I'm sure she was. That's something Vince would do. I want you back. I'm going to give you Money in the Bank. Cash in when you want. The belt is yours, guaranteed. If that's not like the way it happens, there's no reason for her to be there. So I'd say 10%.
Okay, sounds valid.
I mean, even if 10% is valid, we could both very well be wrong. But if she's not there cashing in, she has no reason to be there.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't.
If she does come back, she's gonna come back to get a pop. And if you're not cashing in, you're not gonna get a pop. I mean, you will. But the pop would be so much bigger getting the briefcase. So you put that pop in your back pocket for something bigger. So, yeah, I'd say 10%.
All right. So I'll take the next question. We got a question from Pro Wrestling Fanatic at 5-star match. It says, do we see WWE getting better when AEW hits TNT? What changes would we make to help the ratings? So, honestly, I don't see... So it won't be overnight. You know, what I believe would have to happen is AEW is going to come out. You're going to have that initial rating spike, and then we're going to settle in a little while later to what our normal viewers are going to be, right? What they would have to do is they would have to be consistent, and they'd have to start scooping up. Not that they need to rely on WWE talent, but WWE needs to realize that, like, it's pretty much like what happened with WCW.
Yes.
The stars are leaving them for WCW, and then competition just breeds creativity. And so I do believe it would be better. I just don't see it happening immediately. There needs to be like an initial phase, maybe 6 months to a year to really see where AEW fits in the whole scheme of things. Are they just gonna be another one of the, not necessarily indies, but are they gonna be like Ring of Honor level and Impact level where it's still like not that they're not really close to WWE, but people know they exist? Or are they going to be a second entity that is a viable option that is pulling fans not just from WWE but from other shows? So I believe ultimately I'm going to be optimistic. I think they will breed better content for both shows. I don't see anything happening overnight. I think we're going to be well into the Fox deal 2020, before we start to see any changes if they come. Vince McMahon's a stubborn man and he's in his 70s. Creatively he's not going to be that sharp anymore, and he's definitely out of touch. So it's a toss up, but I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say yes. They will. It's just going to take a minute.
That is valid. I think they're going to get better. Like, I'm personally seeing AEW. Maybe it's just me being optimistic of reliving my teenage years. I'm honestly seeing AEW coming up as a WCW versus WWF. Like you said, Vince is in his 70s. I think that it's going to get better because he's going to end up shitting himself and finally handing it over. Triple H,
God, I hope so.
look,
Dude,
take
I
over.
hope so.
Because like my answer was going to be exactly what you just said. Right now, the WWE is losing the Revival. They could lose Sasha Banks for all we know. And where else are they going to go right now but AEW? It's the big thing. They are promoting themselves. Cody Rhodes comes from the American Dream's blood. One of the biggest
one of the greatest promoters. One of the greatest promoters ever, man.
He has blood. He has wrestling blood in his DNA.
Yes.
So AEW may not be an exact copy of WWF. Like they're talking about their who you.
They're going to be an alternative. They're going to be an alternative. They're not going to be WWE light. They're going to be something different.
They're going to be more like Japan. Wins and losses matter. And well, not New Japan, Japan style, like in general, because they do everything different over there. Wins and losses matter. Who you lost to matters. How many times you used your finisher matters. Like all that shit is gonna be logged. From what I read, I mean that could very well be wrong, but from what I read, that all that stuff's gonna matter over there. So it's gonna be a little
optimistic,
different.
Man. I really am. I'm optimistic.
But I'm excited for it. That's why I spent $50 on Double or Nothing. Even if it's a flop, I want to be there for their first.
I hate to say, I might have to find a stream. I may have to find a stream. I hate to say it.
I mean, it's gonna be amazing.
I don't have cable, man.
It's on Bleacher Report.
Yeah, you can order it online. We'll see. We'll see if I make some money.
That's what I bought it through. I bought it through Bleacher Report.
Yeah,
I didn't bother looking
at
anything
I'm totally gonna pay for it.
But anyway, my point is, I see it as it's going to be a WCW versus WWF. Vince McMahon is going to shit himself when AEW comes out of the gate, and WWE is going to be, if not forever number one, for the longest time. They're going to still be number one, but they're going to have.
What if they overtake them in the rating?
Right, exactly. Vince is going to be like, "Oh my god, it could happen if they come out of the gate."
It hasn't happened in like 20 years, man.
Rhodes has wrestling in his blood. You have Chris Jericho at the helm, who is still in his prime. You got the Young Bucks, right? That's who they are. I've watched them on YouTube. Them guys are amazing. They've been wrestling since they were like 5 years old. They're nuts, man.
They're really good.
You have all the chess pieces in place to come out the gate strong and take out Vince McMahon. I think Vince McMahon is going to shit himself, and he is going to somehow, some way, come up with a better product to stay on top. I drew out that answer, but that is my answer. Vince McMahon's going to shit his pants and make it happen.
Make it happen, folks. Go ahead with the next question, man.
Okay, this one's long, so we'll save that. We'll go Paradise Paradox Virginia Beach at Paradise John. Now, this was asked before we got Firefly Funhouse this week. What the hell is up with Firefly Funhouse? That's his question. Now, I'll start. When the question was asked, what's up with Firefly Funhouse, he was still a happy-go-lucky Mr. Rogers. We knew. So
he's just asking in general, like, what the hell is this about?
Yes, what is Firefly Funhouse about? What is our take on it? Now, looking at it from when the question was asked before we got the flip, it was about the flip coming up. Everybody and their mom knew that it was coming. If you were a mark,
you wanted to know, hey, did you watch Raw this week?
Yes.
That's what it was about, man. That's
yes.
I don't think we could sum it up any better. Just watch what he did on Raw and SmackDown. That's what that junk was about. It was leading us to that.
That's it right there. I mean, John,
Spoiler,
I appreciate the question.
Bray Wyatt is evil.
The question
He's an
came
evil
before the
kid
flip
show
happened,
host, folks.
But the flip happened, and that's your answer. He turned into Slipknot,
man.
And he's going to cause children nightmares. That's what it's about.
I think a good question, so we don't just dismiss it as like that easy. Is a good question is, will Bray Wyatt? Will there be a dichotomy? Will he flip to and from? You know, so that looks like his in-ring persona, but will he recede to the kid show host again?
Will he do promos as a kid show host? That's an excellent question. Thank you, John, for answering. I wasn't trying to push your question aside. That's excellent. I mean, that's
so
very good.
I hope so, because I like the hurt and heel gloves. I hope they can do more with that, to where that's kind of like two personalities. He listens to one hand that has the heel, one hand that has the hurt, and that's kind of like the devil and angel on your shoulders.
Like
there's a lot he could do with it, man.
We were talking earlier. What's he gonna do with Rambling Rabbit and Sabrina the Teenage Pokemon Trainer? Maybe they're
he has us asking these questions, and that's good, man.
maybe
Means we're interested.
right. Maybe they're there with him on the promos. They got a guy on the ground hiding behind him with Rabbit on his shoulder.
Jesus.
You never know. I mean, because I'd like to see Rabbit off of the Firefly Funhouse. He's a character now. We're invested in this guy, and he's a character. And the witch is a character, and the buzzard is a character. I don't want to see them just at the house. I mean, that's just me. I have a different opinion on all this stuff, but
we'll see. Okay, we'll get going with this.
John,
there's more to see.
I enjoyed answering that. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you for that one.
So we got the Go Home Wrestling show at Go Home Wrestling. Do we feel the brand split should end? If so, what do we do, or what would we do if we were hired as creative to not book the same matches? Okay, so personally speaking, I'm gonna play both sides of the fence here. Me personally, I'm against it. I'm against it, but it looks like we don't have a choice. If you're following the wrestling news, I'll try to keep it short with you. WWE is going to be on 2 different programs come next year. They're going to be on Fox. They're also going to be on USA. Fox and USA want the same big wrestlers on both shows, so they have to merge them, and that's arguably why we've got this, the superstar, the wild card, or whatever it is. But what I would do personally, knowing that, is something that I've kind of wanted to see, and what NXT does is don't have the same wrestlers wrestle every week. Have them wrestle every other week to every 2 weeks. The pay-per-views are already spread out a little ways, so you can still tell coherent stories, and you don't have to put so much filler in there. So, for example, if you're highlighting, say, Roman Reigns and The Miz one week and the spotlight's on them, have them take a week off next week from Raw and SmackDown and focus on AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. Put more shine on them, put more emphasis in their story, and that way we don't have the same people crammed down our throat, because Roman Reigns right now is a good thing. I'm fully on board. He's a good thing, but just like anything else, too much of a good thing still results in a bad thing. And that's something that we all know Vince just doesn't get. He's just going to cram stuff down our throat until we're convinced we like it. But I think a good way to counter that is, like I said, just have them alternate weeks, man. Have them just take a week off. It's not like we're going to forget they exist. And absence makes the heart grow fonder, So that's my take on
it. I look at the brand split as it needs to go away. Now that's coming from, I keep bringing it up, I was around during the Attitude Era. That was my shit. There was no brand split in the Attitude Era. So,
SmackDown was pretty much a recap show back then.
Yes, exactly. And it recapped what was amazing on Raw, and it brought its own spin to more amazing.
It did. We had SmackDown moments.
I think the split needs to go. As for how to keep the ratings live, you said it the best, pretty much. 1 week Roman Reigns, the next week AJ Styles. After that, even bringing freaking Lars Sullivan. We were happy last week as our main event being Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, just pulling names out of my ass. The next week, we're not happy because our main event is Lars Sullivan and nobody likes him and blah, blah, blah. You said it best. Don't have the same guys on Monday as you had on Thursday. Even keep AJ Styles out of there 2 weeks in a row. That way, when we see him in 3 weeks, oh man, I really like AJ Styles. I am very happy that I am seeing him right now.
And it makes it can't miss.
Now, one thing I would add in the mix is it's kind of a toughie because it might take away from your pay-per-views. I would personally add a spin match on every single Raw. A ladder match, or a buried alive match, or a casket match, or back in the day when we had Undertaker and Kane, an Inferno match, or
just get a gimmick match in there.
Yes, every single week. And I mean, hell, an ambulance match, that might have been done, but I don't think it has. First one to beat the guy up and throw him in the back of an ambulance, boom, you win the match. Just do it one time. That way people aren't like, oh, that's stupid. But you do it one time. I'd like to see that. I mean, who's gonna end
Yeah.
up in the back of the ambulance? Just that's what I would. That's the spin I would put on it.
I hear you, man.
Different gimmick match every single week. Be it a
Yeah,
pinfall
man.
anywhere match, or I mean, even hell, a thumbtack match. There's a bed of thumbtacks up by the entrance. First one to get powerbombed into
Jesus.
thumbtacks, you lose the match.
You're throwing a rookie on those thumbtacks, I promise.
Right.
It's gotta be a newbie.
Sorry, Ricochet.
Oh God. Oh man. Did you see what, Randy Orton's hardcore match with Mick Foley back in the day, back when Randy Orton was like the Legend Killer?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, man. That's back when, I don't know if it was like he was a rookie in his first year, but he was like really young. And his persona was he was the Legend Killer. So for like a year straight, man, he was just destroying all the Attitude and Golden Age guys, like Hulk Hogan, Mick Foley, I think Roddy Piper maybe even too. He was just every week or month he was taking out a legend, hence the name. And what really projected Randy Orton into superstardom, that just broke him out of that new guy, third generation, I'm here because of my daddy BS, to like, this guy is legit, is he had a hardcore match with Mick Foley. I want to say it was a retirement match, but I can't remember. But anyways, there was a thumbtack spot. Mick Foley broke out the thumbtacks, and they danced around it for a while. And you think Mick Foley's the one going in it because he's the hardcore legend, and Randy Orton's this pretty boy. You know what I mean? And he's all cut. It's before he has the tattoos. Randy Orton goes for an RKO, and freaking Mick Foley just shoves him into the thumbtacks. The expression on, dude, you could probably find the GIF in seconds. Like the expression on Randy Orton's face, that pain was real. There was no selling needed for that. Like, that pain was legit. Oh, still one of my favorite all-time clips, man. I can see it in my head no matter what, dude. It's so good. I'll send it to you. Man. But yeah. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Those gimmick matches, man, bring them back. Bring back a thumbtack match.
Here it is right here. Oh, man, he's shaking his... Oh, look at him. Oh, my God. Oh.
It's so bad. He won that match. He won the match, man.
Eyes. Oh.
Oh, it's bad, dude.
Oh, man, I
so
can see
bad.
the botched RKO, too. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's pay. That's what that's called, is paying your dues, folks.
Oh,
paying your dues.
but then right under it is a gif of him freaking drop kicking Shawn Michaels. Come on, I don't want to see this. My current favorite drop kicking my old favorite.
Oh, dude, Randy Orton had one of the best drop kicks. He had some height. He get some elevation. Well, let's get back to these questions, man. I had
you
to,
got the next one, right? You got
No, that was mine.
Okay,
or wait, yeah, because we did the brand split question. And you said to relieve that is get some gimmick matches. So, yeah, it's your turn.
Okay.
You're on your last question.
All right, this is a lot of questions.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 for us.
Okay. Jesus.
Let's talk WWE. At WWE is life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to shout all these questions because she is the first person to start talking to me on Wrestle Twitter. I just gotta shout her out. She's the first one to DM me. I've been talking to her since I started Wrestle Twitter. Okay. How do we build a Raw division? This is a lot more questions. How do we build a Raw tag division? That's the question.
Hey, do me a favor really quick before we dive in. Can you screenshot?
What, you want me to send you a picture of the card?
Yeah, like a picture of the questions, just because, like I said, so if you're reading them off, I'm not asking you to repeat yourself like over and over.
All right, how to build a Raw tag team division. What is the longevity of Becky Lynch? Thoughts of the shakeup and the wild card going on. Nikki Cross personality.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans, tag team or enemies. Why is SmackDown Live better than Raw?
It's kind of subjective there, but okay.
How much do we love Elias?
Okay, so let me see if I can rattle these off really quick. I'll try to give them like my rapid fire takes on them, because
Okay,
it's a
yes.
lot,
Yes,
and we
we'll do
ramble.
that.
So we'll
We will do
we'll
that. Okay.
talk about them all day.
Okay.
Build your Raw tag division.
Yes.
Give them sensible storylines. Pull back on the comedic angles. Doesn't mean don't do them all the time, or don't do them like never do them again. Just pull back on them, and let the tag teams do what they do in the ring. That's how you'll build it up. You'll make it credible. Just give those guys some more time in the ring and give them sensible storylines.
My answer is bring up. I'm sorry, guys. Somebody correct me on this. The red guys that fought the Viking Raiders this weekend NXT, the Street Bros, or the guys. That,
I think they're called the Street Profits.
That's
it.
That's it. You're right. Yeah. The Street Profits. Bring them up. Give them the belts. There you go.
All right. What's the next one? That's how you build
the wrong. Okay. The longevity of Becky Lynch. How long is Becky gonna last?
Is if we don't get overexposed, man, time will tell. It could be 2 or 3 months. It could be a year. It just depends on the booking, man. It just depends on the booking. But right now she's running strong. I don't see any end in sight. So I'm gonna give her a minimum of, let's say, another 4 to 6 months. I think she's at least got that, and then booking can carry that out even further. So that's my take.
My answer is, I said it a couple times, Becky Lynch is why I got back into wrestling. She won the Royal Rumble. It was amazing. She was hot. She is still hot. I love the fact that she has both belts on her. But Money in the Bank prediction, spoiler, I've grown on Lacey Evans. I want Lacey Evans to win. So my answer is until she loses her belt. Like, it's nothing against her. I don't want her to lose because I don't like her. I want Lacey Evans to win because Lacey Evans has grown.
Well, we need more stars to spread the spotlight.
Yes.
Too much spotlight on one person can make anybody grow.
Yes, precisely. So she's got the longevity, but I think she's going to lose it because exactly what you just said. They need to spread
what's the next one again?
Next question. Thoughts on the shake-up and the wild card rule?
Shake-up in the wild card, done sloppy, doesn't make sense. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad, but give it time and book it right. It will get used to it. But initially, it's been boggled, and it's unfortunately distracting from the pay-per-view. I thought we had another week for the pay-per-view because I've been so distracted by the superstar shakeup and the wild card. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means they got to make some corrections and get this stuff going right.
My take is this was my first time being around for the Superstar Shakeup. I was excited for it. They botched it. They botched it hard, which is why I think the brand split should just go away forever. You screwed it up. You are slowly building into the brand split. Shouldn't be a thing. Word is that Fox doesn't want it to be a thing. USA doesn't want it to be a thing. My thoughts are you botched it. Get rid of it. Get out of here.
Just get rid of it. You screwed it up, folks.
Next question. I'm going to... summarize this question. Nikki Cross, split personality or character change?
I see both, man. I think she can do either or. Everyone loves her as crazy because we've all seen her as crazy.
Well,
but
no,
like I said,
I'm sorry. The question is, from WWE standpoint, what are they doing?
What are they doing with her?
Yes, are they changing her, or are they just kind of leaving her at half?
They don't know.
That's a
they don't
answer.
know what they're doing.
That's a valid
Come
answer.
on now, like they really don't know.
That is a valid answer. I will say it again. I was scared shitless when they did the lights on promo. I thought I was losing my girl.
She's not blonde. She's not tall. She's not built overly feminine. So WWE has no idea what to do.
And that could bring into, let's try to make her win the Money in the Bank and see what happens. Maybe we'll do something.
It's an uphill battle, folks.
Charlotte Flair, Lacey Evans. Tag team or enemies?
Oh, no, not tag team. Don't tag them. They're both too big of stars single individually. Even Lacey. Don't tag them up, man. Charlotte shouldn't tag with anyone outside for swim.
I think they would make it as a tag team. Like they're twins. I mean, what twins don't?
I don't think there's chemistry between them though.
But yeah, you're right. Don't do it.
They're both divas. You know what I mean? They both command the spotlight. They're not going to want to share it with each other.
Why is SmackDown Live better than Raw?
You tell me. I would love for you to tell me why.
The answer was they had better superstars, but then the superstar shakeup happened, and now they don't know what the hell they're doing. So I'll
give them.
If SmackDown is better than Raw in a particular week, it's because the writers were on a better game that
night. I'll give it this. I'll give it this. So over the last year, if you were to like put Raw and SmackDown in competition to which one was more entertaining each week, SmackDown probably won the majority of those weeks. But it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. 1 week Raw will be awesome and SmackDown. Like this week. This week I liked Raw more than I liked SmackDown. You know, I did. But it likely could change next week. So I would love to actually hear who is it that asked the question, Rob?
WWE is life 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Yeah. Hey, tweet me at the Kai Tai Show. And let me know. Let me know why it's better. All right. I'd love to hear about it.
Right. There was a second part to the question I missed. Can Raw bounce back? But yeah. I think the answer to that is with the superstar shakeup, the same thing is why is SmackDown better. That particular week, the writers were better that night.
You just got to get the writers together. Give us some coherent storylines and stick to them. And yeah, Raw can get better, man. You just got to make a plan and stick to it. It's just unfortunately you have like 40-something writers all filtered through the same 5-year-old man. You know what I mean? So it's hard to get anything to stick. But that's my take.
37 writers, and it all goes through one brain.
Yeah. Last question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
We got 2 more. How much?
You got 2 more?
How much do you love Elias?
Oh, awesome, dude. I walk with Elias anytime. Anytime, bro. Elias is hilarious, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. Love him.
Hey, Google. Randy Orton RKO on Elias.gif.
What? I actually have a
But my freaking Google Home went off. That was
for Christmas. My wife got me a little Elias poster. Man, I got it stuck behind me.
Yeah. That was just a joke because like every time she posts Elias, I post a GIF of Randy Orton giving Elias an RKO. Okay, last for real question, and this is actually a good one. I'm excited to answer this one.
Well, I got one after you, but go ahead.
Will D. Bry ever have to not carry Rowan?
Ever have to what?
Not carry Rowan. Like, can Rowan be a thing with D-Bry without D-Bry having to carry him?
I mean, yeah, but right now, if you guys were around and you remember Team Hell No with Daniel Bryan and Kane, like, yeah, granted Daniel Bryan was the bigger star, but, I mean, they made an awesome pair, and we need to give Rowan and Daniel Bryan a chance. Daniel Bryan can walk on his own. That's just fine. Rowan, I'm not so sure on. Like, his ceiling is going to be much lower than Daniel Bryan's. But I want to see them together still. Like, I think they have chemistry, and I think they got a good thing going, dude. So I say leave them alone. Leave them alone and let them do their thing, man. They're tag champions, damn it. Let's see those hemp belts. I want to see the hemp belts.
This question was actually asked because and we're sorry guys, we were going to answer all these questions, but we went over on our last show, so we saved some for this show. That's why they're being answered.
We'll get some more in on the prediction show. At the end of the predictions, we'll get some more in.
After this, we don't have any more. I got to go to Twitter to get more. Just saying.
Well, but, I got one more left. Yeah, we'll get some more questions.
This was asked before they were handed the tag belts.
Yeah.
And this was asked before they were in the handicap match on SmackDown. And the handicap match changed my answer. I was going to say, no, Rowan is nothing without Daniel Bryan. But watching that tag match, Rowan carried himself.
They got chemistry.
But yes, they have chemistry. He carried himself. He did his thing without Daniel Bryan having to hype him to do his thing. So my answer to the question is no. Rowan can carry himself as long as he's tagged with Daniel Bryan, but he can go without Daniel Bryan. He can be a beast. Hell, Rowan freaking Braun Strowman. How sweet would that be? But
that sounds pretty fun.
My answer would be no. Rowan does not need Daniel Bryan. My answer would have been yes until that tag team. Yeah. Now my answer is no. Okay.
All right, we'll get to the last question and wrap this up because it's looking like this show went almost as long as the first one. But it's all good.
Really? Time flies.
I'm having fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun. You're sticking around. Thank you so much. Last question of the night from the burly bearded babyface. That's fun. At Old School Pants. Do we feel NXT would be better as a standalone third brand, or is it better as a WWE development system? Honestly, I do like the idea of it as its own brand, which means that we could have guys from Raw and SmackDown travel to NXT, which rumor has it we're going to see more of that soon anyways. But right now it does already feel like its own entity. Now, granted, it's under Vince McMahon's umbrella, so he can just pick these wrestlers like daisies. which does make it feel like developmental. But even if it was on equal footing, Vince could do that anyways. So there's not really too big a difference, in my opinion. You just don't have as many newcomers starting out on Raw or SmackDown as they do NXT. But I don't know. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see maybe, if you cut Raw down to 2 hours, right? And then you give that spare hour to NXT and bump NXT up to 2 hours. Now you got 3 shows all at 2 hours apiece. They can run their own storylines. Give that a shot, man. Give that a shot. So I don't even know how to answer, to be honest, because I feel like it is its own thing. I really do. You just don't see as many rookies on Raw and SmackDown as you do on NXT. But chances are they won't get the shine, if they are on Raw or SmackDown. So I say leave it like it is, man. Whatever you think it is, leave it alone. Maybe just add an hour to it. My opinion.
Now, my opinion is NXT is good. I don't get to watch it as much as I watch Raw and SmackDown. But NXT is good. Now, if you were to make it as its own third brand, cast it aside by itself right now, no, it would not make it. Because when I look at NXT, I look at kind of the background, what would happen if they were to make it to WWE. Now, if maybe they were their own thing, I wouldn't think that way.
Keep Vince away from it. Just keep him away.
Yes, keep Vince. Isn't Vince kept away from it already?
Just have someone backstage just tell him that NXT shut down, and then just let Triple H run it in secret. That's what you do. All right, man. Okay, you guys. I think that's it for tonight. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. We covered SmackDown.
Hey, man, if y'all stuck with us this whole time, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This has been a blast. I can't wait to do this some more. Guys, stick around tomorrow. Rob, we got some predictions to make tomorrow, right?
With Nikki Cross winning Money in the Bank. Spoiler!
Nikki Cross wins. She wins them all.
That's it. They could show me 5 minutes of her taking the briefcase, and just the rest of the pay-per-view blacks out for technical difficulties.
Just recaps her winning the whole night. All the matches canceled.
I'd tweet it every time. I'm like, bro, but watch this recap. Hey guys, watch this recap again.
Guys, watch this recap. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night. Y'all take it easy.
Yes, if you stuck it out, we appreciate you guys. We will see you next time.
Bye.